Welcome back, everyone. A few weeks ago, a friend gave me a broken chair and asked me if I would be able to fix it. And I said, well, no problem. I'll give it a shot, but I cannot promise anything. But yeah, here's how it went. So this is the situation where I started. You can see, obviously, someone tried already to fix it, and you see lots of old ooze out, which looks to me like polyurethane glue. Someone tried to fix it with a polyurethane glue, which is not a bad idea, but you still need to understand how certain types of glue work, and and if you don't know how to do this properly, you might not get the results you want from it. But yeah, let's go into it. So first I try to remove as many parts as possible so that I have better access to all those details, and you see there are lots of screws, and I think some screws aren't even from the manufacturer. Some screws seem to be installed later by someone, and you see, as I mentioned before, all those ooze out here, which I will try to cut off with a chisel in just a second. Yeah, here you can see it's pretty messy. But at this point, I was still confident that I might be able to fix it. And yeah, here I used the chisel to remove all the old glue, and what you notice here is that the glue doesn't really stick or adhere to the surfaces, which means the even though that polyurethane glue, which is one of the best glues that exist, never really had a chance to do what it was supposed to do. So obviously I'm going to take a different approach to this project. So this little, I don't even know what it's called, this little wood piece in the corner that holds everything together. I was hoping that might be able to remove it completely by just taking off those screws, but then I noticed, no, it's completely glued in, so I ended up with just cutting it off, which you're going to see in just a few moments. But first, I removed the seat, not only to get better access to that corner, but also I do not want to damage the seat with later with glue or with a sharp tool or whatever. There you go. Okay, now here I get a good look at the crack, and it's like it completely disintegrated, and with all that glue in it, I would never be able to to close the crack or to glue it back together. So here's what I did. I grabbed my multi-tool, and then I completely cut off this little corner piece. And I have to say, I'm usually not the biggest fan of those multi-tools, but in this situation, it's just the perfect tool for the trick here. One side first. But you definitely have to be careful in the situation to not cut off more than you want, and also to not create steppings there that you have to sand down, so that I can just to make my life easier when I glue it back together, because I'm going to do an extra piece and another piece to glue it in the corner, which you're also going to see in just a few moments. Okay, here I measure at the other corner where the other corner piece is, that it's still intact, to get a feeling of how it needs to look like, and a feeling of the dimensions. And then I looked at my in my wood storage, my little scrap wood storage, and I definitely wanted to go with hardwood, and here I found a nice piece of white oak that I think it's going to do the trick. To be honest, I don't even know what the wood species of the original piece. It looked to me like beech, but I'm not sure. Sometimes it's hard to tell when everything is stained or painted. But even if you cut through it, you sometimes you just can't identify what species it was. But I also think because it's not a visible piece that yeah, it doesn't really matter what I use as long as it's a decent piece of artwork, I think. Here, bring it to the right dimension that I need. And I was lucky in that situation that the miters that I had to cut here are just a 45-degree angle. Very often on those chairs, you have like odd angles, and it's hard to figure out what the angle is. And but in this case, it was pretty simple. It was just a 45-degree. Okay, then I'm going to dry fit that little piece. I use here some small pieces of veneer, and I put this under this what is it called on a chair? Is it a frame? It's probably a frame, because on the leg for the chairs and the frame and the leg there's a stepping in between, so the frame and the leg are not 100% flush, and to get it to the right position, I use some small pieces of veneer that I always keep because they are handy in lots of situations to recreate this little stepping here, and then here then I can dry fit the piece that I made. And yeah, I was able to get the piece done just with one try, so I did not had to try like several times to cut it to the right dimension. It pretty much fit right from the beginning, which I think I was just lucky. I'm not saying that I'm such a good woodworker. I was just lucky that it fit the first time. Here I use the leftovers of the broken corner piece to to mark the holes where I need to drill through. I could try to measure it, but since parts of this leftover piece were still intact, I just use it as a template to drill those holes for the bolts later. Looks good so far. So to improve everything, so here you see where the bolts go in, I later also use wood glue, but I still was not 100% sure if that how long this joint would last. So I also put it some extra screws that come from the outside through the frame here. Here I mark those the where the screws gonna be, just to I think yeah. As I said, I wasn't 100% sure how long my my reparation would last, so I put some extra screws there. They would be visible, but and I think my friend would agree to this. It's you rather want to have a chair that looks slightly different than the other chairs you have because you have a few visible screws. It's still better than having no chair, I would say. Okay, that looked good so far, and here I apply the glue. This was pretty much the first time ever that I got in contact with Tide Bond. I know lots of you guys probably use Tide Bond, but I was more on the side of thinking, okay, it might be. Didn't really understood the hype of it. I thought it might be a bit overpriced, and if you work properly, if you do everything correctly, you might don't need an extra expensive glue. You can just use regular wood glue. But in this case, since it's such a piece like a chair or so that's exposed to lots of force in several directions, like shear force, and so I thought, well, let's go and buy that the Tide Bond 3 and see if how good it actually is. But I have to say, maybe I was wrong in the past, and because I was really impressed how that glue works, and I might gonna end up with using Tide Bond more in the future projects. Put some extra screws here as well. Countersink everything. Then I loose the clamp, and then I put the glue on the other side. All right, we are almost done with it. Here's also a little chip out that I know it's not gonna visible, but I thought, okay, well, it's doesn't cost me a lot of effort, so I fixed that too. So here's a little trick that I learned. If you have something like exposed screw heads or so, or little spot on, if you have a dark, let's say a dark surface, and you have little spots where the unpainted wood is shining through, just use a Sharpie, or sometimes I saw people even using pencils, and you just kind of use whatever pen you have, and like write or paint over that spot that looks lighter. And yeah, you cannot make a screw head or something like that completely disappear, but it definitely looks better than a white spot on a dark surface. Okay, that's it. Thanks for watching, and you might want to check out this video here.